Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top realtor Gina Candelario of Kuper Sotheby's International Realty based out of San Antonio, Texas. Gina is a native San Antonian whose love of beautiful homes began when she first discovered her hidden passion for architecture. She graduated from UTSA with a BBA in management with a concentration in marketing and was able to turn her passion for refined properties into a successful career as one of Kuper Sotheby's International Realty's top agents. She has now been in real estate full-time for over 13 years and has been a winner of the prestigious Platinum Top 50 Award for 5 consecutive years and a winner of the Centurion Award twice. Gina is currently recognized as number 8 in the San Antonio Business Journal list of top 50 realtors of among 10,000 plus agents in San Antonio. She has received a 5-star professional award and has held a position in the top 10 Kuper Sotheby's International Realty agents for multiple years. All right, with all that said, Gina, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. So happy to be here.
And Gina, obviously thank you for taking the time here today. And I guess if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
I'd say I stumbled into it. During college, I worked for a shoe company, Joan and David Shoes, and then I worked for Barney's New York and in the shoe department again, and enjoyed sales and meeting people and kind of always having fun putting together what people liked and listening to what they had to say and trying to find the right shoe.
Excellent. And what personal attributes, traits, or qualities do you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Well, I think I'm a pretty good listener. I like to hear and see what people want, and so I'm pretty good at finding those things. I also think I'm very patient with people. I, try to reverse the role and realize when I'm wanting to shop, I don't want to be pushed. And so I like to give the same patience to people and make them feel that they're at ease and that I'm like an old friend, just being there to help them through this whole process. And I also think I'm very good at following through. When someone calls, I will make sure to stay in touch with them and will follow through and not disappear. So I'd say those 3 traits would be my best attribute.
Yeah, it seems like people, I like your approach there because people just, I guess what comes to mind is the car dealership. It seems like you get out of the car and next thing you know, you're swarmed, like you have honey and bees are around you or something. People definitely don't like that pressure anywhere. Certainly my wife and I, when we shop, we don't like it when people, they jump on you and like try to, you feel like you're just smothered with people.
Right. So I try to just get to know people more so than just attacking them on what they're looking for, but find something that we have in common.
And Gina, do you think you could give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Yes, I can give you an example. One time I was doing an open house, and at the very end of the open house, there was a person that walked in, and he had one of those like Harley chains with a leather wallet, and drove it up in this little white truck, had like cages in the back, and I let him see the house, was patient, let him stay past the open house time, and the sellers happened to drive up. They sat outside and were very fidgety. They thought that something unusual was going on because it didn't look like a typical buyer for a house priced in the $500,000 range. Well, I persisted in staying in touch with this person who didn't really look like he could afford something, and stayed in touch, followed through, kept calling him, and he ended up purchasing a home for cash for about $750,000 Oh, I'd say a good 6 months later.
Wow, that's definitely the, don't judge a book by its cover type story when, everybody was getting kind of a sense that this person didn't seem to fit the normal mold of somebody that would, purchase a house of that nature.
Exactly. I've had several clients like that who just didn't look the part, but they turned around and end up buying it. So got to treat everyone equally. Doesn't matter, about their appearance.
Absolutely. And Gina, I think whenever somebody builds success, that sometimes the road to get there is not always an easy path. There's sometimes bumps in the road. Can you talk about some of the adversities and trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
I'd say when starting out at this career, I started out part-time, and what I had to do is I worked in a office that everyone was seasoned. They didn't really take new realtors with no experience, but I'd say I studied all the agents that were successful and just watched what they were doing, and had to do those phone duties and open houses on these properties that most of the time you didn't have traffic, but it was about getting my name out there, getting familiar with different neighborhoods that I was unfamiliar with, and asking lots of questions from the big producers there.
Excellent. And as you hit these obstacles, as things come up for you, why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Well, I knew that I was good at sales in the past, and I thought that I could eventually make a career at this. It was something I appreciated. I love architecture, and so there's both a passion for architecture, a passion for meeting others and matching their needs.
And Gina, I guess looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
I would like to say that I don't want to get really bigger. I like giving the personal attention to people, and I do have a team. I work with my husband, Michael Berger. He takes care of contracts while I go out and show properties and do comps. I'm a native San Antonian, and I know the areas very well. I grew up here and have watched it grow. So right now we have my husband, and I have a wonderful new assistant named Lydia English. She's fantastic. Never met anyone that worked as diligently and hard as I do. And so I don't want to get really big. I wouldn't mind having a higher average price, or maybe just concentrating inside 410 and not having to do business in areas that are not necessarily my favorite. I do like the nice old historic homes or the classic mid-century, and those aren't always inside a certain area. Do love the modern, stark type of contemporary homes. So I'd like to sell more of what I think is attractive as opposed to going out to the newer neighborhoods where everything is looking the same.
And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
Well, I think that it's a couple of things. I stay involved with different organizations throughout the city, so I'm constantly meeting people. Every time we represent someone, we give great gifts, whether it's a membership to the zoo or to the botanical gardens or different museums. It's also a basket of things that they may enjoy, whether it's wine or if they have children, it's books or gardening tools. We just stay in touch. We follow through. When they have purchased something, we call them 6 months or even a year later just to see how they're enjoying their home and what kind of changes they've done to their home.
And, Gina, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that you provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
I think most people think that working with a realtor is going to cost them money. And that's something that most buyers do not understand. There's no cost to a buyer who wants to buy a property. it is paid through the seller's side. So you shouldn't be afraid of working with an agent. One agent can help and show you all properties. Another thing is it will cost them less if they do find a realtor as a buyer or also as a seller. Many sellers try to sell their homes for sale by owner, and historical stats show that they get more money when they work with a realtor.
And let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and probably with your network and connections, you could look up an agent and possibly do a referral. But from an advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
I would say you need to make sure that that realtor is a full-time realtor, that they are familiar with the area and have had sales there, that price point, that style of home is something that they do understand, and that they're selling more than 25 homes a year.
Excellent. And Gina, obviously based out of the San Antonio area, if somebody needs real estate services or looking for an agent, a realtor in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
They can go to CuperRealty.com or Inside410.com, and they will be able to find me on there with a bio and some other designations and community involvement.
Excellent. Well, Gina, obviously we want to thank you for taking the time to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Gina, like you said, you can go to the website. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to the site and any other contact information we have so you can see how Gina can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.